Life is nothing but preparation for that. So you should develop that adventurous mindset. Be adventurous, man. Think about Christopher Columbus on that stupid boat. And it's a war I'm not going to win, but it's a war worth fighting. Unless you do that churning inside, so many things will come out. Wish will come out. Last में अमृत आएगा.
You've studied in 5 different cities,
That's correct. Yeah.
Patna, Calcutta, Orissa,
Bhubaneswar.
Hyderabad, and Chennai.
That's
Right
correct.
now, as a child, even when a plant is uprooted from one garden and one place and put in another, it is difficult. I mean, my own kids. I've lived in 4 countries. My kids have studied in 6 schools. So every time, initially it used to be complaint, but then eventually they had their own challenges. What went through your mind when you were pulled out of Patna and then made to travel to Calcutta? How old were you at that time?
So, I was, if I am right, I was around 8 and a half when we left Patna and, started this, journey towards Calcutta. So the first journey was, quite exciting because in the first time going out of Patna to a bigger city. So for a very, I would say, starry-eyed kid, I think it was an adventure,
Hmm.
right? So obviously, then you start the school, and there was a language barrier. Of course, people would speak
Yes.
in Hindi, but
Yes.
mostly in Bengali. So it took some time adjusting. But then again, I was much more, I would say, adaptable during the very early phase because it was very exciting and everything was quite dreamy and big. So it was very exciting.
So you didn't get scared. There was no fear. It was only excitement.
Initially, yes, but subsequently, when went out from Calcutta to Bhubaneswar, Bhubaneswar to Hyderabad, Hyderabad to Chennai, then it hit you because then you are used to the new things, newer cities, new experiences, but then you take a lot of comfort in what you know, your friends, your teachers, your neighborhood, and your, I would say, routine. So every time from there on, it was a big challenge, trying to fit it into a new city, into a new student setup, new teachers. So that was a bit difficult. But yeah,
Yes. Yes.
but
Yes. Yes.
eventually one would adapt after say 7, 8 months. You get used to the routine, and then uh, you are okay. You find your ways through it. So that also was quite interesting because you learn a lot during those transitions.
True. True. But did you miss building stable long-term relationships?
Uh, they are still. I'm still in touch with a friend from Calcutta, some since
Okay.
1993. So and then I'm also in touch with from Bhubaneswar, Hyderabad. Since I stayed just for 1 year, so I'm not in touch with many friends there. But in Chennai, of course, I'm in touch. So I'm still in touch, and that's the beauty of today's world. But
True.
I
True.
would
True.
say stability of relationship is not the time you spend, it's the connection you make, right? The comfort you have. So even if you don't talk with some of your friends for say 2 or 3 years, but when you connect, you start from where you left off. So don't miss that, personally. Yeah.
Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. So, any interesting events which really put you down in school?
uh Put me down in school, I have to think. I would say what I remember very vividly, a few incidences maybe in Patna, when because caning was quite common, and that was a very
I can imagine.
convent school, right? So that was a thing I remember because I was always playing sports. That was a common thing. If you see my life, there is two part. There's one is a part of sports till say 12th standard, and then animals took over. So there, I was clearly divided into two phases of my life. I would never complete my homework on time in Patna. Every first period, my class teacher will call my sister, scold me. Then, obviously, you'll have, caning on your hands, so to say. So I would never look forward to going to school because of that. because it didn't add up.
Ah.
Like why I should be studying this, and why I should be doing this, unless I really understand if there is a merit in why I'm asked to do something. If something is too abstract, I really can't get my head and heart in sync to really follow that. I would do well in school. I was never the top. I was always in the like 7th to 10th rank, but I only start read till the end point. So I think that was the initial thing which which let me down, because I for a say prep or nursery kid, you don't understand homework, you understand fun. And so that was a bit of a harsh thing, because I was stubborn also in that case, because it's not that the punishment would deter me. I'll still not do it the next day. So that was something which was a bit off. Then from thereafter, there is no significant, as I said, every entry point into a newer school fitting in. I think I don't
But
remember vividly, but yeah,
Abhishek, if I were to get back, stay on
yeah,
that moment, right, where you
yeah,
said academia did not excite you, and you were also wondering as to why am I doing what I'm doing, because
yes,
I was interested in sports and animals, but you were still not bad between seventh and tenth. So
yeah.
you were still prepared to work with the system, though you didn't completely understand the system.
No, I was not willing to. I was only willing to study on the last day to pass the exam.
Okay. Okay. This manager system, okay, you have to get those tick boxes in place and then move
Yeah,
out
but
from
because
there.
how will you pass? There's an exam. So
Correct.
I would only get up when the water would come to the nose level.
Got
So either you
it.
fail
Got
or you
it.
pass. So you might as well study for 1 or 2 days and then pass. And then since
Get it.
thankfully I could understand stuff properly, I could do okay in studies.
Get it. Get it.
Yeah,
You spoke about caning. I remember my one of my tooth is broken because a teacher punched me when I was
imagine,
in my eighth standard. I still carry
imagine.
that.
That's see, these are the scars we carry, and for what? See, if someone does commit a crime, or some major misdemeanor, all of this is understood. Just in the garb of, I would say, traditions, I think it is unpardonable. It
Correct.
is unpardonable. In fact, you'll be surprised that my kid is homeschooled. I don't, we don't send him to school, and he'll never
Oh,
go to school.
amazing. 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 And how old is your child?
He's now going to be 9. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Very nice.
yeah.
Very nice. I mean, lot of I did try doing that for a short while during COVID.
Okay.
But then I felt okay. There are better GT teachers out there, but no, no,
I
amazing.
I
So,
know.
uh,
Credit goes to my wife for this. I think she is very
yes,
hands-on. Yeah, yeah.
I can imagine. It's really demanding when you're homeschooling. It's
Yes,
absolutely demanding on a parent.
absolutely,
Yes,
absolutely,
yes.
absolutely. Totally with you.
So you spoke about your love for animals, right, in school.
Yeah.
Maybe a large part of your venture is also around it. So I just want to understand where was your, uh, how did that start when you were young?
Um, See, there were two aspects to it. Not very, very, very young, not at that moment of time. I would say from 11, 12 onwards, I started, connecting to these animals. So obviously, my mom, who's no more, she would give us a lot of self-help books in a spiritual format. So there was earlier in Gorakhpur, there was a Gita Press. So Gita Press would publish religious texts, and they would have small pocket books for kids. How how you should think and all that. So she would always buy them and ask them us to read, and some of them stuck. So that was the point of view how you should behave, but not connected to animals.
Mm.
So when we went to Calcutta, I think we stayed in two parts of Calcutta. First year we stayed in a place called Belgharia, which was a suburb of Calcutta. So there we had a place where a few cows would come daily to be fed. And as a child, I would always be scared of such big, large animals and all. But my mom would, daily feed. And then after a few months, we would see this cow is doing a dialogue with us. It's not trying to, attack us. And, very, very nice eyes were very nice. She would let us touch her. So that was when we connected. So that really, broke that disconnect between me and the larger world. And I was very always, quite. compassionate towards, and I would also feed the animals. So that was a start. So first, the ethics part,
Nice.
by reading some stuff, and mom showing the animals, making it. And that was, we would look forward to her routine in the afternoon, that cow coming in
Ha
and feeding.
ha 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 ha.
So that really sowed the seed. Yeah.
Do you have pets now? You have pets now at home?
Yeah, we have three dogs, two and one rescue, so at home, and I have three rescue goats in my factory, and we feed around 100 animals daily. I personally feed around 100 animals daily myself, so that goes on. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, lovely, lovely. So you completed your college without much fanfare, and I mean your school, I would say. Where did you go to college?
So, I went to Pune University. So there was this college called Bharati Vidyapeeth College of Engineering. So I did my chemical engineering from there. Uh, and obviously, uh, you know, as I said, if you look at my early childhood, I would not study till the last day, and you have to pass, right? Same thing, I kept postponing. So I was never ambitious in terms of what I would like to do, because I was not sure what excites me. So money never excited me. Business was the last probably thing in my
Hmm.
mind ever, right? But I kept postponing. So you have benchmark set. You pass your final exam, go to the next class. Pass your final exam, go to the next class. Pass your boards, go to 11th and 12th. Pick up a stream. But after 12th, you cannot postpone anything, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
essentially, kept postponing. Very interestingly, I remember I only came first in my class in either half yearly or first standard, and very, very, very surprisingly, shockingly, I came first in 10th board in DAV in South, in Hyderabad. And I very interestingly, and this is by pure luck. This is by pure luck. I don't lay a claim. I'll share a very interesting anecdote just to showcase how unserious, non-serious I was about studies. So we the DAV Kukatpalli, where I passed my 10th from, was almost 20 kilometer away from my home, which was in Adarsh Nagar in Hyderabad, quite far away. So, it was on top of a hill, house was on top of a hill, and you would go to a bus stand below the hill. So I believe my sister would drop me on a moped to the bus stand every day. So
Hmm.
one
Hmm.
fine day,
Hmm.
and I was riding the moped, and she fell down. It was a curving road. She fell down. I didn't see she fell down. Someone told me, "You look at your sister." I turned back. She got injured. So she didn't go for the college because she was injured for 1.5 months. Right? It was mid August or August September thereabouts. And you know what? What I did? I hated going to school. Right? So what I did, I said, and at that time our house help was not coming. So I bribed my mom and said, you know what? There's no padhai to hota nahi hai. There's no study in school. I will do the jhadu pocha at home and I will study. She got tempted. She said, "Are you sure you are going to study?" I said, "I will." So for full 1.5 months, I did not go to school in 10th. And when my sister resumed her college, that was the first day I went to school in DAV. And of course, I was sad going to the school, and teacher thought that he's coming out of a sickness. She said, "Are you okay?" So I took an additional 4 days leave. So this was the level of seriousness I had in 10th. And in fact, there was a series, India West Indies Test series was going on, and just the next day, maths board or some other board paper was there, and my father would wake me up, and we would watch till in 2 or 3 o'clock in the night the match, and my
In
mom would
Caribbean,
scold
right? Yes.
in Caribbean. So that is why I'm saying I was so unserious. So I thought I must have got a lot of grace marks because that year maths paper was horrible, and I thought I'll fail. But when I counted, I said I'll obviously pass. But I got good marks there. But in other subjects also, I got a good marks. So that was a shocker to me because that was the first time after first I came first, and prior to that I was not even first, second, third ever in any class.
Uh, uh,
So it was just a freak. It so happened. But then again, you got admitted to, you could get admission into any school. So father was transferred to Chennai, and so in Chennai also, I could get into any school. But I scanned the school. So there was one Kendriya Vidyalaya in Chennai. We just had three students in 11 PCM. I said, this is great. Then the teacher will not make me study. I'll study on my own. I'll just go to school and do my own stuff. But unfortunately, he was even more attentive on the three students. So I dropped out that from the school and joined the Maharshi Vidya Mandir, which was a regular good school, CBSE. So you can see the trend. I
Got
was
it.
always, not really comfortable with, imposition, lack of clarity. I wanted to know, I'm okay to work, but I need certain clarity. Yeah.
So is it because you didn't? Okay, clarity is a very interesting part because you didn't know why you were studying, right?
Yeah.
That was a question which you were trying
Yeah.
to answer,
Yeah.
or was it because you felt confined in the school? Is it
Both.
this
Both.
lack of freedom or lack of both?
Both lack of freedom and lack of, why am I studying maths? If I am studying algebra, what is the application of it, right? And so I was not sure. That's why I never worked hard. And then after 12th, you cannot postpone. So what I did was I thought, okay, now you have to take a stream where you have to decide your profession, right? 12th you cannot postpone. That's a professional decision from thereafter. So 12th I got good marks. So I thought that, okay, let me because coming from Bihar, civil services was very, strongly looked up to. There are a few civil servants in the family also. Dad was also in central government. So I thought, you know what, let me, take up arts, because I was very good in English and arts all through. I would always top in arts, in English across India, but I would not do that well in other subjects. Having said that, I thought I'll take arts. So it so happened that one of my uncle was in IPS in Chennai, and he had passed civil services taking history as an optional. So my parents, they went to him for guidance, that see, he's got say 93% in PCM, he's getting very good marks, he get anywhere right now. So at that time 93 was very interesting, because now to
Mhm.
everyone gets 100, but at that moment it was very tough. So having said that, uh, so I wanted to take history, or maybe possibly history in Loyola College in Chennai. That was my plan. So he, of course, based upon his experience that he cleared in his third attempt, and it was quite risky, he said, you know what, I would not suggest such a competitive exam. You are good in science, take up science, have a professional qualification, and then appear in civil services. So obviously, from someone who's already cracked it and giving that kind of advice, that was quite important for us. So what we did was went to. I said, okay, then I'll not take engineering. I'll take chemistry. Let me do take pure sciences as an optional in civil services. So went to Hindu college in Delhi, and on the very first day, got into a big fight on the basis of ragging, and my father pulled me out from that college, and then finally, then subsequently later joined Pune engineering. So it was
Okay,
a so
okay.
quite quite it was
Oh,
not very
amazing.
clear.
So
Yeah, yeah.
for someone who was disinterested in studies or in schooling, and then getting into
Hmm.
engineering, and then getting into IRS. So how was that preparation for civil services happen? I believe that's really demanding. Didn't you question why should I go through this?
See, civil services gives you a platform, right? I when I gave exam, I was not thinking I'll get IRS. I was looking at, say, IS or IPS. When you go into the society, IS go into the villages, IPS, take proper care of law and order. So I wanted to be amongst people, and so that I can really, what I'm doing even while being out of service, helping animals, with that I would have possibly done more for humans in that case, because you have that flavor in that job. So I was always thinking about those two services. Of course, IRS is one of the best services in the country, because the extreme, it has got the best of both worlds. It has got visibility as well as anonymity. So I do believe it's the best service in India. Having said that, that was not my choice. I prepared for civil services only because of this. And then again, whether to go for civil services or not, I had a conversation with my brother, Abhinav, who did his PhD from US. He was studying Anna University in BTech Industrial
Okay.
Biotechnology. So
Huh.
I said, you know what, see, we are two brothers and one sister. We said one of us needs to stay in India, and the other needs to is free to go out. If you
Mm,
are
mm,
staying in
mm.
India, I will go out of India, because what I wanted to do was, in final year of engineering, there was a research in Maastricht University in Netherlands, which was on tissue culture based meat. So I was in ISKCON. I
Okay.
had left meat at that moment of time. I would eat meat. So I had left meat,
Okay.
and so there was this research which really fascinated me, which fascinated me that, hang on, there is a technology where you can enjoy your meat without hurting animals. So I went up to my HOD and said, you know what, sir, I want to go into this field. What should I do? By that time, I was not studying well in chemical engineering. He said, listen, if you want to do this, do your GRE. Don't go for this food stuff. Go for artificial leather. And there is a biochemical engineering course. And he gave some details regarding that. So after I got these details, I asked my brother, okay, tell me, are you going outside of India or you are going to stay within India? So he said, finally he decided I'll go. He wanted to go out of India. So that was cut out for me, because it should not happen that both kids go out of India and parents are left alone. I said, okay, so that door is closed for me. So now what do I do? In India, there was no such course. So technically that was not possible. Technically, but that was not possible. So I said, okay, let me go into civil services. So after my final year of engineering, I started preparing. I went to Delhi, started preparing for civil services. So that was the story, detailed story.
Nice. I think
Yeah.
in between you said ISKCON, right? What
It's
is the
fine.
role of ISKCON? How did that come into the life of a college kid?
So, as I said, I had questions, but there was no one to give me answers. A lot of questions, right? It was not, a lot of things would not make sense to me, right? Um, so, and it eventually haunts. It's a stage of life. This question: who am I? What am I here for? What do I want to do with my life? Everyone answers this. Someone will eventually ask this question on the deathbed. Someone will ask in the young days or middle age or whatever. But that's us. That's the soul part of us, right? So for me, imagine, I was, you know, I read Vivekananda, the Ramakrishna Paramahans, and all those guys. So they talk about such glorious stuff, which is not mundane, right? And here I am in a mundane world, doing stuff which is not really making a clarity to me why I'm here. And now even I am confused that I can't go out for something what I believe in. So having said that, so there was this ISKCON guys. They came in the first year and they were talking about Krishna consciousness. So that really fascinated me. And there was a small ISKCON, I think, temple near to the college. So I would go there every day. And in fact, I would wake up at 4 o'clock, do mantra jap till 6 o'clock after taking bath, and then in the evening go to their center for listening to their pravachan and prasad and all that. So that was about a search for beyond life,
Me,
you know
purpose
something
in life.
beyond life. So for 2 years I was very strongly involved. Went with them across India to certain other ISKCON temples also. In fact, I was on the verge of joining the ISKCON order, leaving everything
Wow.
behind. Yeah, I had
Okay.
reached that level, but eventually, realized, of course, spirituality has to be internal. Everything is fine, but you cannot repose your spirituality on any external institution. And maybe
Hmm.
what is my calling, my voice may not be exactly your calling or your voice, and same holds true
Exactly.
for everyone else. So while it was really a great learning experience, I felt that maybe my voice is something else. So I came back to the grind. I started doing whatever I wanted to do. So that was the story of ISKCON.
Now, fascinating when you said you cannot repose spirituality externally.
Yeah.
Uh, what was the point of realization? Because that's a very matured statement for a child who's in college, right? There would have been.
Uh, See, there are two facets to it. The first facet is frustration, right? Frustration from not getting an answer. But you're not getting an answer, right? So that is the start. You should feel the need, something is not adding up. It's the picture loop is not getting completed. So that's the start. Once you do that, again, for me, so there was a search. You read. You go to these institutions, you meet people, you hear good words, those are the things I would do. But personally, if you ask me, the more I know, the more I understand I don't know, right?
Mm.
And that's for the larger construct, right? It's a very, very strange balance. Now, for me, spirituality is basically dissolving your identity into the moment. And what makes you dissolve your identity, whether it's painting, cricket, earning money, helping animals, doing whatever, you forget your Divakar, I forget I'm Abhishek, or and I'm one with that moment. For me,
Mm.
when I feed animals, when I see animals I don't see cars, I don't see buildings, I only see animals, street animals. So, and when I'm feeding them, I feel just time has stopped or time has gone by
Mm.
very fast. So you become
You're in
one
the
with that
zone.
moment. So that is where I felt ki I'm always feel very connected and lost around animals. Means
Nice.
getting involved and not also getting involved, but you forget your identity. So for me, that was a spark. See, these are sparks. All of us go through these moments, but
Absolutely.
they are so temporal that we register it and we forget it. But
Mm.
if you
Mm.
keep looking for these sparks and you notice them long enough, you will know what is your spark. Then you preserve that spark, and then it becomes a flame, and then that is permanent. So my flame is, trying to create a better world for animals, and it's a war I'm not going to win, but it's a war worth fighting.
Uh, I just love what you said. I mean, just that we don't observe our moments, right?
Yeah.
Where you lose yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Those are the real insights into understanding your soul, right? At the end of the day.
Exactly. And you come with your own frequency. You will never resonate to my frequency, and there can be, billions of frequencies. So our society is not giving enough confidence to individuals and youngsters to believe and search. First of all, search for that frequency and believe in your frequency.
Exactly.
That's a
Exactly.
problem.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, our lives are so stereotyped in our
Yes.
society. I
Yes.
completely resonate, Abhishek. When I was 38, I took a
Yeah.
year's time off.
Okay.
Um, we moved from India to Dubai, and
Okay.
I had done 16 ventures in the first 15 years of my
Wow.
entrepreneurial. We've
That's amazing.
three times close to bankruptcy, the real question was like, no, why you did what you did,
Yes. Yes.
and then when
Absolutely.
you that why was bugging, and when that answer came over a series of discoveries, I mean, I started writing for my grandkids. Though my own kids were very, but that journey gave me clarity.
Ah.
Because I mean, the decisions you took talks about your values, right? What matters. The leaps you try to take, especially the vertical leap, talks about your ambition.
Right.
So when these two are clarified, I think life then becomes a symphony beyond
Yeah,
that.
it is. It is. It is. No,
And
I'm so
I'm
happy, and it's like जो हम लोग समुद्र मंथन is a word. I don't know if you understand समुद्र
okay.
मंथन, right? So समुद्र
Samudram, I
मंथन,
understand. Samudram.
when asuras and devas, they were churning the ocean, and Amrit and Vish and everything came out, right? So I believe, unless you do that churning inside, so many things will come out. Wish will come out, your Amrit will come. Last mein Amrit aayega. But don't be afraid in churning yourself.
Yes. Yes.
So good that you churned yourself. Good that you acted on your restlessness, and kept at it. You know. So I think that is very much needed. I think success is much more valued. I think failure is much more valuable.
Oh, I mean, failure is ultimately a mismatch of expectations and outcomes, right? Nothing else.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
So I think that's the only piece. But I think I'm really glad because uh, many a times I don't come across people who even touch upon these dimensions of life,
Yeah,
right?
they
And we
don't.
end up And beyond a certain age, you just reconcile to destiny and live in ignorance all through.
Because what happens is that, I feel that, what, if you have not taken that step, right, say, if early in your life, where I feel, no time is late. No time is late, because it's a that's my personal belief, without any rationality, that it's a continuum. If you even walk one step at 90 years of age with a real step, you'll start with the second step in your next life. So
Mm,
I
mm,
feel that,
mm. Yes,
I would say, fatalistic attitude should be not entertained and should not be done. But I understand the force of inertia very well. I do understand. Ab kya hota? Think about it. If I'm 70, right, and I have just followed for money and authority and whatnot, whatever appeals to me, and then at 70 I realized, what, this did not make much sense. Possibly I should have done this, right?
mm.
And then it's a very, very fearful, dark alley you don't want to enter. Because if you
Yes,
acknowledge
yes.
that, then the corollary of that acknowledgement is 70 years of my life I have wasted. 70 young years of my life I have wasted. So a lot of people don't acknowledge it because they don't want to look, because that acknowledgement will make them disregard their life, and they think that they have too little time. So might as well have the opium of whatever regular life.
Exactly, exactly. Very, very well said. And then they live in a delusional world
Yeah, yeah.
and then move
That's
from.
that's
No, no.
that's the defense mechanism. They do that.
Yes, yes, yes. No, it's fascinating, and I'm really glad these are conversations which are happening in our generation at this
Yes,
point. So at least
absolutely.
our children are much more enlightened when they are when they face the world, and that they
Yes,
don't need to go through the stereotypes, as you started saying. The
absolutely,
next gen should seriously,
absolutely.
seriously.
I feel very responsible towards them personally, because I have a kid, and it's not just my kid; it's every generation. But then again, I know my journey. I have no interest in being famous or legacy, because I don't see anything. Once you're gone, you're gone. But I feel responsible for kids. They should be led to the right direction. What path they take is their own stuff. So it's a Mount Everest. They should be guided towards Mount Everest. Whether they take this route, that route, whatever, that is their deal. But they should not be, dragged towards, bad stuff. And then, unfortunately, in our generation, our ideals are, we are bad because our ideals are bad as a generation.
Uh, I think what we call as cultural treasures, I think, is also needs to be read in context. Uh,
Absolutely. Divakar, you are running hundreds of millions of dollars worth of business yourself, right? And people value tangible successes. Even youngsters go to the top colleges, schools, everywhere, right? That's They value tangible successes. But how many podcasts you have seen where people have achieved something and they don't want to talk about their success? They want to talk about their learnings, and not learning from a monetary perspective, or a technological perspective, but from a life perspective. I haven't come across many podcasts where people really want to dive in. And there are podcasts, but they are not podcasts of people who have achieved some tangible successes. Matlab, that part of their lives is very personal. It's not adequately touched upon.
yes, see, I mean, at least I firmly come to believe that the more you succeed outside is more when you've actually understood yourself from within. And external achievement is only a shadow. I mean, the taller you realize yourself, I think the shadow gets longer. But anyway, because from the time I went through this journey of 1 year of, I wouldn't use the word vanavas, but complete hiatus going back, we have grown infinitely. Today we're talking about getting listed, multi-billion valuations. These are numbers which would not have been. I wouldn't use the word I was not ambitious, but I was not even under. I didn't even know why. Right? When you went through that phase of ISKCON, you said you in our private conversation you use the word depression. I think it's more than depression. It's about the non-alignment between
Yes.
who you are and what you ended up doing, and without even knowing why. It's fascinating. So now, um, if you were from there, you moved to IRS. I'm just curious. Okay, it's more out of My own perception or misconception of IRS and my experience for
Yeah,
about few years being a chartered accountant, especially on the tax. How was your journey being an IRS officer?
it was
And
fantastic.
what was
Matlab, it was really fantastic. I joined IRS in 2010. Prior to that, after clearing civil services, the first job was in a defense accounts. First, I was assistant controller defense accounts. Then joined again cleared IAS. Joined IRS. So I obviously the training happened in Nagpur. That's the National Academy of Direct Taxes. Thereafter, a few academies across India where the deputation attachment was there, and then joined Udaipur where I left the service. I worked for I think 5 or 6 years in Udaipur as assistant commissioner income tax and deputy commissioner income tax. I think IRIS has played a major role in my life in terms of giving me confidence. In terms of IRS, I would say, this has been a very important pillar in my life till date because uh, I joined in Udaipur as assistant commissioner, got promoted to deputy commissioner, and after 5 or 6 years of service, I left IRS. Right. What IRS gave me is the confidence to navigate the world, because it so happens that suppose it's a short cut to being a prominent figure in the city, right? If you're going through the ranks, right? For example, say a Tata CEO who comes in, right? You join Tata, as a TCS, or so he feels that he has descended from some different world, and possibly your ceiling is much lower than him, right? Because you can go up to vice president or maybe, but very few could be MD Tata or CEO of Tata. But when you join IRS, or as a matter of any civil services job, and you talk to them in equality, and these are the guys who leave their aura outside your cabin and come to your cabin with being a very open-ended conversation where two equals are talking. So that gives so much confidence that what, I'm not special, but they're also not special.
Hmm.
So I'm not saying that I have arrived, but then again, when you see them in their human self, you know that okay, these have also normal guys who have really worked hard, talented, and they're lucky, and that is why they are getting that position. So for me, that IRS broke all the ceiling of where I can potentially go if I put my heart and there's a luck on my side. So I think this is what I learned a lot from IRS, because we are bound by a certain code of conduct that we cannot disclose name, but some of the biggest names I had assessed, and those guys had come to me, some of the biggest leaders. So having them serving you makes their aura go a little down, and you feel that. And I was not arrogant, that I knew that the aura is of the chair, not of the person manning the chair, but that is inconsequential. What is consequential is these gentlemen aura is also make believe. Obviously they have achieved, no one is demeaning their achievements, but then again, let's not over glorify their achievements.
Exactly, exactly. Look eye to eye, right? Get it, get it,
Look
get
eye to
it,
eye, look eye
get
to eye.
it.
So I think for me it was a massive reason for success post IRS. And then again, leaving IRS was also quite easy.
Exactly. I wanted to understand the decision because it's that decision is ultimately like a volcano, right? It would have built up over a period of time and erupted one day. So, what were the
Right.
forces which were leading to that build up?
So I'll give you an example. My wife, we had a love marriage. So, prior to our marriage, while we were discussing, and at that time, I'd just written my mains and possibly waiting for the interview to come through. And we were discussing. I said, you know what? And I didn't know whether I'll get IAS, IRS, IPS. I didn't know. I said, you know what? I may actually leave the job even before I got the job. And I didn't know what job I was going to get, because if I'm going to marry someone, I might as well tell her my thought process, because as I said, my initial direction was going for research in biochemical engineering for alternate leather, again taking animals out of the system, production system. So that didn't happen. So I said, now I don't know how to go to animals again. Of course, IS, IPS, I'll work for the people within them, but eventually I want to work towards animals. So what I could do that once you clear the IAS, then you can always open a coaching center, right?
Mm,
Where you can earn a lot of money, and with that money I can help animals, I can give to charity and all that.
mm,
So
mm,
I
mm,
always want that maybe I'll leave, maybe I may not, but that's the
mm,
option which I'm saying which will happen. So that was already
mm,
clarified. That was one.
mm,
Then I worked 6 7 years. When I worked here, then of course, you know, when you get married, and at that time my wife was pregnant with Dhwaj, Yashu, my kid. So I said, you know what, this is the time I need to take a plunge, because 3 years prior to leaving the service, I took a headquarter posting where not much, stress, field level work is there. You're administratively managing the area, and I also took a 1 year study leave, so that let me develop the product, because this is not a plug and play that any you go to an equipment manufacturer, there's a science involved, there's technology involved. So we had a team, my brother again putting his own skill set into this setup, got my sister also to work on the project. So for 3 years we worked on the project and we developed a prototype, and once the prototype was developed, then it was clear that I have a product in hand. Now there are two ways. Because this is a podcast, I will tell you a very important, I don't recall the name of a TED talk. There was a TED talk which, the last part of the TED talk left a very significant impact uh, on me. So yeah, so it was on education. So therein, this gentleman is, I think he's an educationist. He said that there are two people, two equally talented persons, and both of them were working on certain jobs, and both of them wanted to do something else, right? One of them took the leap, other just stayed, played it safe. Now, cut back to 20 years later, their kid have grown up and they have come to the father and said, Papa, I want to do this. So he said, what would the first one say? First one say, no, beta, don't do this. Life is tough, beta. Go for security. And what the second person will say, he'll look the kid in the eye and say, beta, go fly, because I too flew. So for me, even before Dhwaj came, I was responsible towards him, that okay, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. So I'm not seeing myself as an actor, I'm seeing myself as a future parent giving confidence to the kid. So for me, it was very easy. There were only two things, right? So my opportunity cost was just 1.5 lakh your salary, right? This is because clearing twice in civil services, you can always join some coaching even if you don't start a coaching, so that net is covered. I can earn that. So that's a worst case scenario, so that's sorted. Okay, I can take care of my family, I can pay the bills, I can take care of rent and whatever whatnot, I can take care of that. Now coming to the other side of opportunity, because if I don't jump and do this, if I don't do this, who will do it? Because if I am so convinced, I have prepared, there have been seed in the engineering days, it has been sowed, it has been crafted, and I understand there's a merit in pursuing this, and there's a need of billions of sentient beings uh, who are, as we are talking very comfortably in this environment, they are being butchered in front of each other, blood is being thrown away. So if I don't do this, who's going to do it? So it was a very easy decision. Only I would give credit to, of course, my parents also agreed, but my wife, definitely, she had to bear the uncertainty, but she never for a moment she said that don't do it, think it over. She said, you know what, I trust you, and you have to take care. I don't know, it's your call, but I trust in what you're doing. My thing is to back you up, but you do what you. So that really helped me.
That's
So it
so
was,
important, right? People to believe in you.
yes. Absolutely. And they don't believe in you for a moment, like for on certain, I would say, milestones of your life. They believe in your daily life. They witness you on a daily for years, and then when
Exactly.
such things
Exactly.
come up, so
Well said. Yes.
I think everyone who has seen ki, I have no axe to grind, and I studied hard to clear this. No one is asking me to leave it. There's a good future ahead. So if I can crack, what if I would not have cracked civil services? At least God has helped me crack it, and if I'm capable and I'm willing to work hard. So you'll be surprised, Divakar, that it has been, I think, 2017 now, 16, 17, almost 9 years, 10 years, 9 years, 8 or 9 years. I have left the service. Not even for one fraction of a second. I had a regret that what if I had continued? And whereas in entrepreneurship, as you rightly know, there will be crust and troughs, challenges galore, hard grind, and all that. No, you're not just creating a brand; you're trying to create a category.
Exactly, exactly.
That is quite tough. So for me, this is an adventure. This is an adventure. I love it.
Brilliant,
Yeah,
brilliant.
I really love it. Yeah.
No, it's fascinating, Abhishek. I think a lot of what you're saying on the flow, but it comes from a much deeper understanding of yourself. And I
Yes,
truly wish people who listen to this, especially the younger kids. I always tell my guests that speak as if what you would speak to your grandkids, right?
exactly.
And what you just said, I mean, it really moved me. I mean, beta go fly, I too flew.
Ah,
It's
yeah,
fascinating.
yeah,
I'll
totally.
never forget this because that's exactly what I'm sure. I mean, you would be saying. I tell my children, just go after your heart. I think
Yes,
wherever it leads you. But yes, I mean, have your own guardrails of sanity around it.
that is fine. That is fine. That is fine. And they'll learn if they take the
They'll
decision.
learn.
They'll learn.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. So now today, where you are, and you also spoke about wife. I think their role. I mean, definitely, I wouldn't have been where I am without my wife. She
Absolutely
not only supported, she joined us in the venture as well as a co-founder at a
amazing,
later point in time.
amazing,
So,
amazing.
I mean,
Without
they are the
them.
real silent heroes behind the entire journey which the world sees through us, right?
Yeah, and they don't get the due credit, right? You know, you are the
True.
face of the venture, but there is so much going. It's a team. If there's no
True.
goalkeeper, Messi would not succeed in his
Exactly.
actions. Imagine Emilio Martinez made Argentina win or Messi win the World Cup. He had not saved at the last moment that goal. It
True.
was game over. So I think
True.
wise
I
play
mean,
that role.
absolutely.
Wise play that
See, I
role.
mean, it's again, we write in our office as a firm, at least we firmly believe, offense scores goals since you brought football,
Hmm.
but defense wins matches.
And it has happened. The final,
Exactly.
the Messi is the crowning glory of the best footballer ever has is because of a goalkeeper at the
Exactly.
highest
Exactly.
platform.
I mean, but no one celebrates a goalkeeper. It's that's the irony of life, right? I mean, we
That is.
really miss the real deal.
So
So
that is what this is where opinion makers should come in, because from people who are successful voicing this concern, this becomes mainstream understanding and knowledge. Very few people are actually talking about it. I think we should talk about it. I think that is why I said these kind of podcasts talking about intangibles, because everything cannot be counted.
exactly, exactly. And what is counted invariably is superficial because
Yeah,
numbers and statistics can be twisted the way we all want to. I mean, what you want to,
absolutely,
no,
absolutely.
no. So where you are, where are you? I mean, if you can just share a quick peek on where you are in your venture and what
Sure,
your
sure.
vision is, just to give a perspective of what all this foundation has led for the outside world to witness.
So having the context of why we started out, now that is the fuel which you know powers this venture, right? The why, making the world a more compassionate place for animals. But that's the fire. I cannot expect a consumer to buy that, philosophy
True.
through his money. They won't, right? So therein comes the tactical part of it. So being a tactical part, a neutral ex meat eater, I would say, why, if I don't care about environment, animals, or even my health, why would I pick a plant-based meat over animal meat, right? So I would say that I would two things personally, those in terms of criteria. First is taste, second is price, followed by nutrition. It should not be really way off the chart, but I think taste and
Hmm.
price. This is what Coca-Cola and other stuff, right? This is what Coca-Cola sells or
Huh,
McDonald's sells,
huh,
and they are
huh.
the biggest company. So our effort was right from the beginning to develop a product which is more affordable than animal protein. I'll give you an examples.
Hmm,
In
hmm.
some of our food outlets where we sell a mutton, a keema pav. A keema pav is a minced Indian curry in a pav, right? A slider form. So normally a mutton keema pav will be 100 rupees for small keema pav. A chicken will be 60, 70 maybe. We are selling at 20 rupees. So that is our
Wow.
strategy. So that's our strategy, and that's why you will be surprised. We are obviously we are the leading plant-based meat company of India by far. That's one. The second is we are now profitable. We are not dependent on burning money. We
Nice.
are available in around 12, 14,000 stores across India in a distribution
Wow.
network called RCM. And you'll be surprised we are in the villages of India. We are in Nagaland, Manipur, Bihar, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Odisha because of this distribution network. So that because of this, we have started with the highest hanging fruit. People in the interior parts of India with very highly challenging affordability issues adopting plant-based meat. So we have won that segment. And our
Huh,
products
huh,
are
huh.
also being sold in Marriott's of the world and Taj of the world, even exported to Dubai, Australia, in the premium stores out there. So the entire spectrum we are covering. So that for us, we're not heavily funded. We till date we have just raised $7 million, but
Okay.
we have accounted for that with great revenue, and we are succeeding, and we are in
Nice.
discussion with our next rounds, so which will happen possibly in this year, mid of this year, or
Nice.
later year,
Nice.
and then we'll scale up very significantly. So we are
Very
doing well,
nice.
and yeah, everything is for a cause, and the cause is building up, so we are happy.
No, fascinating. So when you started, especially in tier two and tier three, right? I mean, you would have had to spend a lot of time and energy on awareness, on educating the
Yes,
consumer, because you're
yes.
creating a category. How did that journey take shape?
So, that I would give a lot of credit to my team in GoodDot, who under Deepak, my partner, who looks after that part of our expansion, and our distribution partner called RCM. I'll give you a concept about RCM. RCM is a direct selling network in tier two, tier three cities, and they have I would say 12 to 14,000 physical stores, and they have resellers. So how
Mm,
if we would have had to go to these remote areas individually to these stores, it would have been we'd need to raise hundreds of millions of dollars to create that awareness. So what we did, so we trained the trainers. We had a team of 20, 30 chefs and managers who will coordinate a meeting of 100, 200, 500, 1,000 sellers prior to before they depart from Udaipur. And they keep traveling
mm,
across India. And they
mm,
train these resellers. They talk about the plus point of the product. They cook the product. They showcase the product. They showcase our wins in different areas. And they arm themselves with the product knowledge and the selling knowledge, and in turn these guys sell it to the consumers. So we are able to amplify our voice to these channels, to interior parts, through these cost effective mechanisms. So that is why we could reach those places, otherwise it would have been not been possible at all to go to those places.
nice. Anyway, fascinating story. Yeah? Fascinating story of what
Thank you.
you've done.
Yeah.
I mean, brilliant. I would say someone taking the passion and making converting. I wouldn't use the word passion. I think it's a cause which you deeply
It's a
care about.
call. It's a call. Yeah.
Yes,
And it
yes.
chooses you.
So
It burns you. The thing is, it chooses
exactly.
and it burns you, and you should be willing to be burned and just become vapor
Yes,
out of
yes,
it.
yes,
So,
yes, yes. So I completely resonate. Completely
yeah,
resonate with what you're saying. And these are words of someone who's realized, traveled, and understood. I think that's what the sense I get every time I hear you speak. So as we are coming to a close, Abhishek, now if you were to say something to your grandkids, right, three things, what would those be?
same thing, Divakar. Please fly because I too flew. Have faith in yourself and have faith in God.
So you're talking about freedom, belief, and hope.
But yeah, you have put it right. But yeah, this is what I felt as a grandkid because I don't control his destiny, but I can pray for his destiny, and I can give him the confidence to follow his inner journey because I don't have answers. I don't have answers.
True, true.
So
I
that's it.
think all what we need is questions in life, right? I think answers are everywhere.
Yes, yes, yes,
Just
yes.
have to have the
And
right
then
questions
connect,
in.
and I would also say connect with. Don't get confined to college, organizations, media. There's a huge world which is willing to do dialogue with you, and we are
Exactly.
not even
Exactly.
connecting. Be it nature, be it spirituality, astronomy. I don't know. There are so many things which we are complete being. We are just being put in silos.
Hmm, 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 hmm.
Just break those silos also. Smell the coffee, go out, have some fun, understand, make the connections. Yeah.
Where to say connect seamlessly, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Because what happens is that, I'll say something which is very dark, right? But it's not dark. It's actually, quite good. Personally, it gives me a lot of power. Life is nothing but preparation for death, right? Because it's like, think about it when you're about to die, right? Imagine for a moment, this is a moment, right? So
Hmm,
it's a very scary adventure, and you lose it all. You lose your
hmm.
money, you lose your family, you lose your identity, you lose your security, you lose your safety, everything. And all of us have to go on that journey, irrespective of whoever it may be, right? So if that is the pole star of our life, so you should develop that adventurous mindset. And that's like lifting 100 kg dumbbell. Start lifting 1 and 2 kg dumbbell. Start, following your, knowing you and following your voice. I think that is what is missing. We are not talking adequately about death or mortality. We keep it as a taboo subject not to be discussed and pushed under the carpet. But I think this is a very, very interesting, I have felt that the more you embrace it, the more it becomes comfortable. And that helps you live better. So I think that is not adequately talked about. It's always, successes and all that. But be adventurous, man. Think about Christopher Columbus on that stupid boat,
Exactly,
in a
exactly, exactly.
flat world theory, with the great sea monsters. He went. We have to do that, and it's fun. It's fun.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's so unfortunate that most people don't realize it, but I believe the world is evolving,
Yeah.
especially in developing countries now. I so wish a day comes in India that entrepreneurship is celebrated.
Yes.
Right? The real entrepreneurs are people who, I mean, the Kirana store guys, even the small time entrepreneurs
Yes.
who take risks, manage to provide for their family. They need to be celebrated beyond, rather than because one thing what really hurts me in India when Baiju's failed, when there was so many I said so moments. I mean, he was a teacher, and from there to become a multi billion-dollar enterprise, and without
Right.
even knowing why he failed, there was an entire army of both media and so as a society, right, we need to start celebrating success back in India. And I truly hope the kind of work what you're doing and countless entrepreneurs it should really inspire a generation to think
Yeah.
that poverty is not our birthright.
No.
Success is not something which is sporadic. I think it's a very intentional journey of discovery and following the heart. I thoroughly enjoyed Abhishek more than anything else. I learned
Thank
so much. It was really reinforcing a lot of belief systems and above all felt I think you use this word connection, right? Felt connected to a lot of what you said and to you at the soul level. It was
No,
wonderful.
Devakar, thank you so much. I think more power to you. You're taking time out from such a incredible venture what you have built, because that also tells me that you are a seeker and you are also a knower. And it's a both are evolving all the time. I do believe a lot of people from the series, right? They have certain good takeaways which can be implemented, And I
True.
congratulate you on this, this journey. It's very incredible, I must say.